Hey everyone! Welcome to the live stream. I am Jennifer Blanchard. I'm an author and a strategy, success mindset, and manifestation marketing coach for emerging 1% authors who want to create the dream writing life all on their terms. So today I'm going to walk you through my process for taking your idea and turning it into an ebook and then publishing it in only 10 days. Now, this is not for everybody. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not for anybody who isn't willing to do the work. But if you are willing to do the work and if you're willing to, step up to that next level and to just let go of your excuses and do what it takes, you can absolutely go from idea to published ebook in a very short period of time. So I'm going to walk you through the specifics of each day and what you should do on those days in order to actually be able to turn, your idea into an ebook and get it published by the end of the 10-day period. And then at the end, I'll tell you about something I'm doing that is limited right now, but you can check it out if you're interested. So again, this is a 10-day process. So I highly recommend that you clear your schedule for something like this, that you give yourself enough space and enough capacity every day to actually do the work. You don't have to have a ton of time, but maybe like an hour to a day minimum is going to be, what you're going to need if you're going to actually do this in 10 days. So, and again, you don't have to do it in 10 days. You could take this schedule and blow it out so that it's 20 days or 30 days, 2 months, whatever really works for you. But I'm going to give you the lowdown on it just so you kind of have an idea of what you should do each day. And then you can actually figure out on your own what's going to be the best way for you to do that. So the very first day, so this is probably one of the heaviest days, and only because there's a little bit extra stuff you have to do the first day in order to get yourself prepped for the rest of the week and the rest of the 10-day sessions. So the very first day, and I've got my little notebook here, I'm going to just read off some of the stuff so that way I don't forget any steps. But the very first day, you want to make sure that you hire an editor who is willing to do a quick turnaround for you. So you could even do this before you get started. So let's say pre-work for the first day, getting ready for it. But you don't want to put your ebook out there without having somebody look at it for you, someone to edit it or a beta reader or someone to look at it and make sure that you actually have something worth publishing, that there's not errors in it, that there's not stuff that doesn't make sense or that doesn't flow. And so you really want to make sure you hire that quick turnaround editor. Now, there are a lot of editors who will do quick turnaround. They sometimes charge a little bit more. But depending where you go, if you go to like a site like Upwork or something, you could find someone who's relatively affordable and who's willing to turn around your short ebook within, a couple of days, which is what you need if you're going to actually make it happen in a 10-day period. And that's why I say start on day one with finding this editor or hiring this editor and saying, I'm going to have this book ready in however many days, and I'm going to send it to you, and this is when I need it back by, and all that. So it's really important to do this in the beginning, because if you wait till you're halfway done, or if you wait till it's like day 6 or 7, you may not find someone who's able to turn it around fast. So for me, when I was writing and publishing my newest ebook, the 15-minute writer that I did in a 10-day period, I immediately contacted my editor, who is a friend of mine, but someone who I've worked with on pretty much all of my books. And she, said, yep, I'm open. I said, I'm going to have this done by Friday. I'm going to send it to you. Can you get it done over the weekend and send it to me by Monday? And she was like, yeah, no problem. I can do it. And the cool part is she's actually really fast. So she ended up turning it around in 24 hours, which is awesome. But definitely a big thing to do on the first day is make sure you have an editor ready to go once you're finished with this book and able to, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My dog is just making noise right now. Let me grab him. Okay. And that is one of the most important things to do on day one. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to get started on the book itself. So time to develop the idea, time to outline it, and get started writing right away. But most importantly, you need the outline, and you've got to know exactly what you're going to write, because if you don't and you're just kind of pantsing it along the way, you may forget stuff, you may not include everything, and you may not be able to get it done in that 10-day period. So you really have to, my dog wants to lick my face now. You really have to make sure that you have an outline, that you have some sort of an idea of what you're going to write in this ebook, because again, by knowing that, it's going to make your life so much easier. It's going to make it easier for you to actually get the writing done each day, because you know what you're going to write, you know what the book's about, and you can just go from there. And it's kind of a flow. And then also having that outline is really going to be like a prompt for you each time you sit down to write, because you can look at it and say, okay, I know exactly what I have to write today. I know exactly what I'm covering. And you can just get started, and you're not having to sit down looking at a blank page and saying, what do I do now? Like, what do I write now? So it's super important to do this. And if you want to get a free download of my How to Outline Your ebook, I will put the link in the comments after I'm done with this video, so you can do that. It's a free download, and you can get the outline and the information on how to do this so that you can really have a strong outline before you actually start writing your ebook. Really important. Now, one more thing that I will mention is, well, actually a couple of things. So the first is mindset. Mindset is super, super important to this entire process, because if you don't believe that you can do this in 10 days, if you don't believe that you've got what it takes to do it, it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter, how much you actually work on it, it's not going to happen. So you've got to get your mind in the game, and you have to do it from day one. So starting on day one, even if you do this for 5 minutes, either close your eyes and just visualize the end result. So imagine yourself having the book finished, putting it on Amazon, seeing it published, watching people buy copies of it. Imagine that for even 2 to 3 minutes a day is just going to get your mind in that place that it needs to be to actually have the confidence and the strength that you need to keep going. So mindset is super important. It's been the game changer for me in my business, in my writing life, and in the stuff that I've been putting out there that's, actually helped me to create the success that I've had with my books. All about mindset. So every single day I write in my journal, I write my reality. So it's exactly what I want to see happen. And I write it like it already has happened. So I write things like, I have already sold X amount of books this month. I have already finished X ebook that I'm working on. So that way I'm reminding myself every day that this is a done deal, and I'm not willing to let anything else, get in the way of that. This is a done deal. So mindset's super important, and it's going to be something you're going to want to do every single day, even for a couple of minutes. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out process, but you definitely want to have some mindset stuff going on, because it's going to just support you in everything else that you're doing. Now, the last thing I'm going to say for day one before we move on to the next days is that if you want some extreme motivation, and not everybody wants this, but I'm someone who needs extreme motivation. So what I usually do is I will contact, there's a email list that I actually send my books to when I'm finished with them, and they actually promote them for me. You just pay for the promo. It's a one-day thing, and your book has to be 99 cents in order to do this. But I basically tell the guy who's in charge, hey, I have a new ebook that I'm working on. It's coming out X date, whatever date I've chosen. And then I tell him, can I pay for a promo for that date? Now, the book isn't finished yet, but I pay for that promo ahead of time, because now I know I've got this deadline. I'm not going to not do it because I've already paid for the promo. So that for me has been a huge motivation for actually getting my book done in the time that I say I'm going to do it. Now, you don't have to pay for a promo, but something else you could do is share publicly that you're going to publish by a certain date. Tell someone, in your family, or tell someone in your Facebook group that you're going to do this, and just so that you're held accountable to actually doing it. All right, so that is day one of this 10-day process. Now, the next 3 days, so day 2, 3, and 4, are going to be all writing. So just write your ass off every single day, as many hours as you need, just get it done. Now, sometimes you might get distracted, so some things you can do are, if you can get like a distraction blocker, so there's ones you can download for your computer that will basically block out any distractions. You can shut off certain websites that you don't want access to, like Facebook or your email, and then you only are able to write during that time. Something that helps me a lot is having a timer. So I'll actually set a timer for like 15, 20 minutes, and I will just focus for 20 minutes on that book that I'm working on. When the timer goes off, a lot of times I'll keep going and set it again. But if not, I might take a short break and then come back to it. So there are a couple ways to, kind of do that and just keep yourself focused on getting the writing done, because this is the most important part. Obviously, you can't publish something you haven't written. So you got to do the writing, and you got to do it every single day until it's done. So if you are doing this in a 10-day period, you're probably going to need 3 to 5 days to actually write the book, unless you don't have time. And if you don't have time, you probably don't want to take this on as a 10-day process, because you really have to have time to do the writing. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So next, now once you're up to day 4 and you've done your writing, so day 5, now this is also going to be a write your ass off day. So you may have more writing to finish up. You may have stuff you still got to do, and that's totally cool. Day 5 is perfect for that. But when you're on day 5, you also want to start thinking about the details of your book. So let's think about the cover. Any ideas for the image? Any thoughts about what the font choice might be? Have you thought any more about the description of what you're going to actually write for the book in order to, post it up on Amazon? So now this is an ebook, so you're not having to worry about a back cover, a spine, or any of that stuff. This is just digital. But you still want to be thinking about your cover, because obviously that's an important part of this whole process. Now, if you aren't going to design your own cover, then you're going to have to, and I wouldn't recommend designing your own cover unless you know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you might end up with something really crappy, and you got to have a good book cover if you want it to sell, because when people see the cover, they're going to notice right away whether or not it's of interest to them. So, and a lot of times that's the only thing they can see really is the title and the cover. So you want a good cover design. If you're not going to be able to do it yourself, you can hire someone to do it for you. There are lots of places you can do this. You can go to Fiverr, you can go to Upwork, find someone who can design a cover for you. There are some places where you can get a custom cover. There are some where you can buy one that's already made, and then you just have your information put on it. Totally up to you. There's a guy on Instagram, Jaden James Designs, I think his thing is, and he's got great books, and he's got covers where you can like just buy them and then get your information changed. Super fast, super quick turnaround. So that's one option if you're not going to design your own book cover. I like to design my own nonfiction covers because I actually have a little bit of a design experience background, and I like design, and I've just had a lot of fun with it. So for me, it's been a really good exercise to just practice a little bit and to do some actual cover design. But I wouldn't recommend that for everybody because not everybody knows how to do design properly so that it actually looks good. So if you aren't someone who can do that, definitely find someone. And that's why I recommend it on day 5, because if you don't have the capacity to do it yourself, you're going to need some time to hire someone, and you're not going to be able to rush them. You know, you're going to have to make sure that you've given them at least a few days. So that's why I say think about your cover on day 5. Now, again, you may be continuing to write, totally fine. Keep going with that and keep going with the mindset stuff. All right, now for day 6, this is when we're going to start getting into more of the it's time to get ready to publish, it's time to get ready to send this off to the editor and all of that. So day 6, you're continuing to write your ass off, but you're also trying to wrap it up. So you don't want to keep writing much past day 6, only because if you do, you're going to push yourself into that territory of you may not have enough time to finish in 10 days. And again, that's fine. You may not want to do it in 10 days, and that's cool. But if you are trying to do it in 10 days, you're going to want to start wrapping up around day 5 or 6. So get yourself finished, wrap it up, and, be done with it. Now, the other thing you're going to want to do on day 6 is set up your Kindle Direct Publishing account. So this is assuming you're going to publish on Amazon, which I would highly recommend you do because Amazon has great benefits for people who publish on there. But the Kindle Direct Publishing. So if you go to Google, type in Kindle Direct Publishing, it will bring you the platform information. You just sign up for an account. It's free. And then you're able to, upload your book. Now, that's not what you're going to do today, but you want to at least have your account set up so that you're ready to go once you are ready to upload. So that's day 6. Now going on to day 7, this is when you're going to do a final read through of your book, and then you're going to send it off to your editor. So you may still want to make some changes, and that's totally fine. I often do this, so I'll get it to a place where I feel like, okay, this is pretty good. I'm going to send it to my editor now. And then of course I may go back and look at it and make some more changes and whatever, but the point is I've gotten to a place where I feel good enough about it that I can say, okay, it's done for now, and I can move on to the next step in the process and hand it off to my editor, who's going to look at it for me and give me feedback and tell me what I need to do to improve it. So give that to them. Now again, this is a quick turnaround if you're asking for that. So, you're going to get it back in a couple of days. And again, you have to ask for that service. So most editors take like 30 to 60 days, depending on how long a book is. So you're going to want to have to ask right away. Do you do quick turnaround? And do you have, the ability to do it in a couple of days? And if not, you're going to want to find someone else who can. Okay, the other thing you're going to want to do for day 7 is you're going to want to finalize your book details. So this is your title, your subtitle. So if you don't already have those figured out, it's time to do that. You're going to want to think about your description finally. So actually even maybe writing some of it. So like writing out what's the description that's going to go with the book on Amazon. And then, of course, think about the price. So what are you going to price your book at? Now, if you are going on Amazon, I always recommend thinking about doing different things with pricing. So starting with 99 cents and seeing what happens. Starting with $2.99 and seeing what happens. And you can always change it. I mean, the thing with the digital publishing is you can literally change it in one day. So let's say you tried 99 cents for a couple weeks and then you wanted to raise the price, or the other way around. Let's say you started with $2.99 and then you wanted to try 99 cents. You can go and change it right away. It takes like 12 hours for the actual change to take place, but you can upload it and change it anytime you want. So it's not like you have to keep that same price. I've actually messed around with prices on my books a lot just to see, what would happen. And I feel like having some books for 99 cents and having some for more actually becomes a good lead-in, because someone buys the 99-cent book and enjoys it, and then they want the other books. So I have books of all different prices for that reason. And it's been helping me. I've definitely been selling a lot of books. So this month so far, and I haven't checked today, but as of yesterday, I'd sold 2,090 books for the month. So there definitely is something to changing your pricing and to just playing around with pricing. So be thinking about that for day 7. All right, so now day 8. Now this is when you're going to actually design your cover if you're designing your own cover. So this is when you're going to actually do the design. You're going to buy the image you're going to use. So if you're using a stock image, or you can get a free one from a stock free site, but you're going to design your cover and you're going to make it look good. And it's pretty much going to be final. So you're going to have to do this in one day. I mean, you could give yourself another day or two, but in the 10-day process, you don't have a lot of, time to do lots of things for a long period of time. So you really have to just focus and get it done. So a cover design takes anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on your skill level, of course. Or if you're just getting someone else to do it, easier. You don't have to even worry about it. They'll handle it for you, and they'll just send it to you when they're ready. Now, the next things you want to start doing on day 8, and you could do this beforehand as well, but I say start on day 8 because the other days you really have to be focused on getting the writing done. So you could be doing this other stuff as well, but it definitely helps to have a couple of days where you're just focused on the writing. And for me, that was the best thing. So I wrote my 15-minute writer book in about 3.5 days, and I did that by just focusing on the writing those days, and then all the other stuff I did after the fact. So on day 8, you're going to want to think about spreading the word about this book coming out. So start telling people now, I have a new book coming out. Here's the title. Maybe you can share the cover if you already have the cover image, and just work on, getting the word out. The other thing is you're going to want to start formatting the book. Now, if you're not formatting it yourself, you're going to have to contact someone who is going to format it for you. I would definitely recommend you do that when you contact the cover designer if you aren't going to format it yourself. But you really could format it yourself if you are willing to do some of the work. Obviously, it can be a little bit of a tech headache, but it's totally worth it if you don't want to spend the money, because Amazon actually has templates that you can download, and then you can actually just use those to format your book so that it looks proper like it's supposed to. It fits the Kindle sizing and all of that. But that's definitely where you're going to want to start on day 8. Now, at this point, you may not have your edits back, so just keep in mind that any of the formatting you do is temporary until you get the edits. You may have to fix some of it up after you've made the edits from your editor. But the point that I like to do is just don't wait. Don't wait until you get it back, because if the editor's late, or if you aren't doing it every time, you're just doing a little bit at a time, you're actually going to end up not making it happen in the 10 days. So that's why I recommend starting the formatting a couple of days ahead of time, so you give yourself the time to actually get it done. And then when you have the editor's feedback, you can just incorporate it into the document where you've already formatted, and then just fix up anything that needs fixing at that point. All right, and again, mindset work every single day, especially as you get closer to the actual publication, because that's when your resistance is going to be the strongest. So around days 7, 8, you're going to start getting to that point where you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done. This is almost out there. It's going to be published soon. And that's going to cause a lot of triggering inside you to resist doing the rest of the work, or to come up with excuses for why you shouldn't finish, or you're going to create life chaos because you're afraid of finishing or going all the way. This is totally common. It happens to everybody. And it's happened to me, a ton this year. And I've published 3 books already, and I've got the 4th one in the process right now. So it happens to everybody, and it's not a big deal. You'll totally make it through. But it helps a lot to have that mindset work going on, because when you do that, your mind's going to be much stronger, and you're going to be less willing to deal with, or willing to give into the resistance. You're going to have to deal with it, but less willing to give into it, because without, dealing with the resistance, you're going to get stopped, and you don't want that, especially in a 10-day period. All right, so day 9. So this is when things are really going to start coming together, and things are going to start getting a little bit faster paced. So this is when hopefully your editor is going to have your edits back to you. So if you've asked for a quick turnaround, usually that means 24 to 48 hours, sometimes 72, depending on the editor that you're working with. But if you tell them you need it by a certain date, or you need it turned around quickly, a lot of times if they agree to it, they will do it. So you'll get the edits back, and once you do, immediately start making the changes, because sometimes this could take a while. So you don't want to wait or anything like that. Just get started making the changes right away, and then you can adjust and finish your formatting once you've done all that. And then, of course, keep promoting, because now that you're getting ready to actually upload and publish, it's going to be time to get it out there and to start selling it. So start promoting, continue to promote, tell people about it, post it on your social media, all of that. And then day 10 is when you're going to finish any final details of anything you haven't finished yet. So if you still have some, final edits to make, if you have any formatting stuff to do, day 10 is going to be that day where you finish it and get it done. And then when you're done with all of that, you're going to actually upload your book to Amazon. So Kindle Direct Publishing, you're going to go into the account, you're going to upload it. It's going to walk you through, everything you have to do. You have to put the info in, the title, the description, add the photo, upload the book file, and choose your pricing and all of that. Now, once you've done that, it takes somewhere between 12 to 24 hours to actually have it show up on Amazon. So if you're in America, it happens a little bit faster than if you're in another country, but it's about 12 hours if you're in the US and a little bit more if you're not. But it's pretty quick. I mean, they just review it quickly and make sure that everything, fits their standards, the formatting is right and all of that, and then they just upload it and it's ready to go. And they'll send you an email and say, hey, your book's available on Kindle, blah, 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 here's a link. So that's exactly what you want to do. And then, of course, keep promoting, because without promoting it, no one's going to buy it, right? So you've got to keep promoting it, you've got to keep selling, and you got to tell people that your book's available. So if anyone has any questions, please put them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them for you and give you some ideas and feedback. So just go right ahead and do that. But that's the 10-day process. And that's really the process that I use to write and publish my 15-minute writer book and get it out there this month. And it's doing really well, which is awesome. But I'll also have, several other books out there, so that helps too. But really, if you're committed, you could do this 10-day process every month and get a book out there. I mean, if you really wanted to. Now, I wouldn't recommend it for fiction, because fiction is a totally different beast. It is so much harder to write fiction than anyone believes that it is. And you really can't do that great of a job with a novel in that short a period of time. I don't believe you can. But I mean, again, you could change that belief. You could, if you believe that you can and you can actually do a good job, that's totally up to you. But I wouldn't recommend it this fast. I mean, just because there's just so much that goes into a novel that has to be cohesive, that has to make sense and flow and all of that. Not that an ebook doesn't have to do the same thing, but it's a little bit different because it's nonfiction. So you're not having that, creating characters, building a world, coming up with backstory, like all these things you do when you do a novel. So you're doing less of that stuff. And so because of that, it's a little bit easier to actually write it. The other thing is you could actually take a bigger idea. Like, let's say you wanted to write about, I don't know, like anything really. I mean, any topic, cooking. All right, let's say you're going to write about cooking. Okay, well, instead of just doing an ebook about cooking and making it this long ass ebook that everybody's going to like read maybe, but maybe not because it's so long, you could break it down into separate little ebooks. So it's like short little ebooks that actually build on each other. So let's say one's about kitchen tools and one's about cooking processes and one's about, different types of food and one's about, whatever. So now you've got several books, and then you could almost put them on Amazon separately. So it's like Amazon will actually recommend books to people. So like if you have one book out there and someone sees it, there'll be a little, and you've seen this on Amazon, I'm sure, where they recommend other things by the same author or other items you may like, or people who've bought this have also bought XYZ things, and they show those other things. So that's actually how you can get multiple books on Amazon and actually start selling them and getting them to sell each other. So this 10-day process can really be used to do that over and over again. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So I may not have been writing all of my books in 10 days because it's a little crazy to do that. But the one I just did was shorter. It was one of the shortest ones I've done so far. So I knew I could get it done in a 10-day period. And so I didn't stress about it. I just made it happen. So if this, I hope this sounds like it's doable, because I truly believe that it is. I mean, obviously it does take work, and you do have to actually do the work to make it happen. But if you get your mind in the game, if you do it every single day and you just really focus on that mindset stuff, it's going to make a huge difference for you, because you're really going to feel like confident and you're going to feel capable and just like you absolutely can do this, because you can. So having that mindset in place is almost the missing piece, I think, a lot of times that makes the biggest difference for writers, and for anybody really, but specifically I talk to writers, so that's why I say, for writers. For me, I would say mindset, I would almost attribute that to most of my success at this point. So because I've had other books out, so it's not like I just started publishing books this year. My first book was published in 2010. So I've had several books out previous to this year. It's just that this year I got my mind in the game and I got my mind in the right place, so that now I'm focused on the success I want to create, and I'm focused on the fact that I'm already selling the books I want to sell. And even if it hasn't happened yet, I'm telling myself that it has. And by doing that, I'm programming my mind to pay attention to that and to remember that it's already happened. So then it does actually happen in my actual reality. So mindset is huge. And especially during a very short 10-day process of writing and publishing a book, you're going to need to do some mindset stuff. So that is the 10-day process. And again, if you have questions, just put them in the comments and I will answer them. And if you are ready to step up and go through this process and actually get your book out there in the next 10 days, so starting August 1st, I am running a workshop called Write and Publish Your Nonfiction Ebook in 10 days. And we are starting August 1st. We are hitting the ground running. We are going through every single day all the stuff that I talked about. and you're going to be getting training on all of it. So you're going to know how to do everything that it takes. You're going to have information on how to design a cover. You're going to have information on formatting. I'm going to have video training for you so you can know exactly how to format, exactly how to design a cover, where to find the pictures, how to do the layout, how to do the text formatting, all of that. And then I'm also going to have resources and options for you to choose if you want to find a turnaround editor who's fast. I have a list of editors who have agreed to do fast turnaround for this group, and I have a list of outlines, so I like formatting people who are willing to do quick formatting for everybody. And you also get marketing support, so I'm going to make sure that you not just get the book out there, but you actually are able to sell it and market it once it's out there. You're going to get training on how to actually upload to Amazon, so that way you know exactly how to do it and you can follow the process easily and you can do it yourself without having any worry. And I'm also including some pretty awesome bonuses. So the bonuses are going to be that you're going to get emails sent out. So I'm going to put an email together that has all of the books from everybody who finishes, and I'm going to send it to my list. And I've got 4,500 people on this list so far. So I've got a big community at this point, and they're all going to get to hear about your book. You're going to get to be in a blog post on my site that shows your book, that has a link to it so people can go buy it. I'm going to give a shout out to you on my Facebook page, in my Facebook group, on my Instagram. So I'm going to really just help you get this book out there. So it's not just going to be you doing it, but it's going to be me helping you too. So all of that is going to be part of this program. Now, because I've never run this before live, I'm actually doing it for a pretty ridiculously affordable price, but this will not be the case the next time I run it live. If I do decide to run it live, I'm actually, my original plan was to do it as an e-course, so you would do it on your own, and it will still be available like that, but it's going to be double the price, and you're not going to get the support from me that you would get if you do the live version. I only have 15 spots and there are only 3 left, so all the other ones are gone. So if you want one of these, you definitely want to check this out right away, because the 3 spots are going to sell out and they will probably be sold out by the end of the day today, if not the end of the weekend. So definitely check it out. Go to jenniferblanchard.net/10days and check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up here or in my Facebook group. More than happy to help you and to answer them for you. And I wish you lots of luck with this process, because it is absolutely doable if you just put your mind in the game and are willing to do the work. So I will catch you next time.